I love to hear that. Thank you so much. Let's talk about the Ninth Amendment and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. According to constitution.congress.gov, the Ninth Amendment is the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That was very legalese, so I had to look it up. Same website, I just clicked a different tab. It says here that the Federalists contended that a Bill of Rights was unnecessary. Why did they think it was unnecessary? Because they were worried that the rights that weren't listed in the Bill of Rights might not be given because they weren't listed in the Bill of Rights. It says here, it might follow by implication that those rights which were not singled out were intended to be assigned into the hands of the general government and were consequently insecure. James Madison was like, you might be right, but we can fix that. So he tossed in the Ninth Amendment. So, in layman's terms, just because we gave you rights in the Constitution doesn't mean that you don't have other rights. So, what are our other rights? If you want a comprehensive list, you can go to this website, un.org. Fun fact, China, France, Russia, the UK, and the United States are the 5 permanent members of the UN. And they were all there when it was created. So, they all signed the original documentation saying that these are indeed our human rights. For being human, we are entitled to this. We are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, religion, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or any other limitation of sovereignty. I.e., we don't care who you are and what you believe or what you look like or anything like that. You get this, and nobody can take those rights away, and you can't question, but is this what you really meant? Because this is exactly what we meant. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. No slaves. No torture. People are people. People are equally protected by the law. If your rights have been violated, you're allowed to tell the government, and the government has to say, you're right, they've been violated. No arrest for no reason. You have the right to appear before a non-biased jury. You are innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to an attorney. If you were following the rules before they made the rules, then you can't get punished for it for doing it before the rules were rules. Internationally, you are protected from shit talkers. You can legally go between one state to another. And you can leave your country and come back to your country. You have the right to go to other countries for safety, but not to run from the law. Please get the word out and repost if I'm on your For You page. Words have power, and our rights are not irrelevant. And by saying that we don't have rights anymore, you just gave power to that idea. Don't give power to that idea. Moving on. Everyone has a right to a nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of this nationality or denied the right to change his nationality. Men and women of full age, without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion, have the right to marry and found a family. They are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. Marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. The family is the natural and fundamental group unit of society and is entitled to protection by society and the state. We have the right to own property by ourselves as well as in association with others. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in community with others in a public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to uphold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media, regardless of frontiers. Everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. Everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country, directly or through freely chosen representatives. Everyone has the right to equal access to public service in his country. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. This will shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections, which shall be universal and equal suffrage, and shall be held by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedures. Secret ballot just means that you don't apply your personal information to your vote. Everyone has the right to Social Security and is entitled to realization through national effort and international cooperation, and in accordance with the organization and resources of each state, of the economic, social, and cultural rights indispensable for his dignity and the free development of his personality. Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, and to just and favorable conditions of work, and to protection against unemployment. Everyone, without any discrimination, has the right to equal pay for equal work. Everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself and his family an existence worthy of human dignity, and supplemented, if necessary, by other means of social protection, i.e., you have the right to a living wage internationally. You have the right to a limitation of long working hours and periodic holidays with pay. Running out of time, read this one. Read this one good and hard. Pause it if you have to. This one right here. Yeah, you're right. Just seems a little bit interesting that the 5 permanent members of the United Nations are also the 5 nuclear world powers. Also a little bit kind of crappy that anytime a smaller country wants to become a permanent member or a member of the Security Council, the 5 big countries veto that. Why? Because all 5 countries are corrupt. We have in written documentation proof that they have acknowledged that we have rights and what they are. What do we do when we see corruption? Do we just say, it's corrupt, and then just keep moving on? Because that seems like what we're doing. Or do we take what they promised us? I am definitely 100% not advocating for a complete and total violent overthrow of our government. What I'm advocating for is social change and an acknowledgement of our international human rights. Yes. Whereas the people of the United Nations have, in the Charter, reaffirmed their faith in fundamental human rights and in the dignity and worth of the human person, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life and larger freedom. Whereas the United Nations has, in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, proclaimed that everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth therein, without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Whereas the child, by reason of his physical and mental immaturity, needs special safeguards and care, including appropriate legal protection, before as well as after birth. Whereas the need for such special safeguards has been stated in the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child in 1924, and recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and in the statutes of specialized agencies and international organizations concerned with the welfare of children. Whereas mankind owes to the child the best it has to give. Now therefore, the General Assembly proclaims this Declaration of the Rights of the Child to the end that he may have a happy childhood and enjoy for his own good and for the good of society the rights and freedoms herein set forth, and calls upon parents, upon men and women as individuals, and upon voluntary organizations, local authorities, and national governments to recognize these rights and strive for their observance by legislative and other measures progressively taken in accordance with the following principles. Principle 1. The child shall enjoy the rights set forth in this declaration. Every child, without exception whatsoever, shall be entitled to these rights without distinction or discrimination on account of race, color, sex, language, religion, or political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status, whether of himself or of his family. The child shall enjoy special protection and shall be given opportunities and facilities by law and by any other means to enable him to develop physically, mentally, morally, spiritually, and socially in a healthy and normal manner in conditions of freedom and dignity. In the enactment of these laws for this purpose, the best interests of the child shall be the paramount consideration. The child shall be entitled from his birth to a name and a nationality. The child shall enjoy benefits of Social Security. He shall be entitled to grow and develop in health. To this end, special care and protection shall be provided both to him and to his mother, including adequate prenatal and postnatal care. The child shall have the right to adequate nutrition, housing, recreation, and medical services. The child who is physically, mentally, or socially handicapped shall be given the special treatment, education, and care required by his particular condition. I'm running out of time. We're going to do a part 2. because, once again, the United States has not ratified this. But please permit me to put my opinion in on this. We wrote it, but we didn't ratify it. And it's really not fair to pick and choose which rights children get and which ones they don't.
You know, this was so crazy. I thought it might actually be true. And you're right, she probably was. Let's look into it. The FBI actually had several files on Eleanor Roosevelt. How dare she? How dare she force racial integration? You know what, though? They had a very reliable source. Yeah, the Ku Klux Klan Incorporated. They were going to stop her from giving her communist speech, even if they had to blow the place up. I really want to know what they blocked out here. Like, what are these empty spaces? I'm so interested in this. You're right. There's definitely a conspiracy going on here. Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt is scheduled to make a speech at Monteagle, Tennessee. A confidential informant of the Knoxville office, who has furnished reliable information in the past, advised that at a meeting of the Ku Klux Klan Incorporated, the scheduled talk was discussed. It was mentioned that Klansmen planned to go to Monteagle and stop the talk even if they had to blow the place up. Yeah, so many X's here. What is this concerning? What is the action of the Ku Klux Klan? Why are they blocking out the KKK information? Ooh, what's a fifth column agent? Let me look it up.
Espionage. Sabotage. Ooh, let's keep reading. It is Stalin's fifth column among the youth of this country. Let's see. The American Youth Congress. Oh, wasn't that when kids stood up and said, "We have rights and we want them"? They had a declaration too, didn't they? Hang on a second. Yeah, they said, "We have a right to liberty. In song and legend, America has been exalted as a land of the free, a haven for the oppressed. Yet on every hand we see this freedom limited or destroyed. Progressive forces are persecuted. Minority nationalities are exposed to arbitrary deportation. The Negro people are subjected to constant abuse, discrimination, and lynch laws. Workers who strike for a living wage are met with increasing violence. We affirm to be the omens that modern tyranny, fascism, more brutal, more vicious, and creationary than even against that which our forefathers rebelled in 1776. Those little shits, those communists, how dare they? They want like rights or something? How dare they? Communists, obviously. Moving on, let's see. Institute of Pacific Relations. National Citizens Political Action Committee. Ooh, abolish the poll tax. Ooh, that's a bad one. This is all FBI stuff. Let's see. Common Council for American Unity. Sponsor? Ooh. League for Industrial Democracy. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And to top it all off, she was a woman. You know what? You're right. Okay, here we are on the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner website. Let's take a look. So, China has ratified. Let's see. Yeah, they haven't ratified the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. But they have ratified the racial discrimination one. Let's see. They ratified in 2001 the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Let's see, 1980. All forms of discrimination against women. Let's see, 1988, cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Hey, there's the rights of the child, 1992. Okay, do the thing. Thank you. All right, optional protocol. Rights of the child. Let's see. On the sale of children, child prostitution, and child pornography. Both ratified. Look at that. Good for you, China. There we go. Now, this is just the United Nations website. You know, you can go on here whenever you want. Let's see. We have ratified and signed the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Let's see. Ooh, but not the Covenant on Social, Cultural, and Economic Rights. Eek, not good. Let's see. We ratified the Cruel, Inhuman, and Degrading Punishment one. Okay. Ooh, but we didn't ratify the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women either. Or the Covenant of the Rights of the Child. Let's see, what else? Oh, but we did the optional one, so okay, good. We never ratified the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities either, so yeah, once again, United Nations page. 5 permanent members: China, France, Russian Federation, UK, and the United States. Yep.